All right, everybody, can you hear me in the back? Can everybody hear me? Speaker's good? Sounds good? All right, cool. All right, welcome to Fatty's Pizza for our second Coach's Show of the season. I'm Graham, and this is Michael Herrera. Everybody, a round of applause for Mr. Herrera. So for those people who don't know, just tell them a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and all that kind of stuff, where you played before you got here, just the basics.
Sure, yeah. So I'm from Syracuse, New York. Yeah, Tucker, you know all about that. But, yeah, born and raised in Syracuse. This is my second professional season in the SPHL. I played in Utica before coming down. Yeah, I played left wing, and I'm excited to be here in Macon.
That's cool. So you were you started last season. You mentioned it. You joined Pensacola to start your career mid-season. Kind of walk us through what that looked like, and getting your feet wet on the pro scene and things like that.
Yeah, it's definitely a big jump coming from college. I mean, you see some familiar faces, like guys you've either grown up playing with that were a little older than you, or guys you saw earlier in your college career. But it definitely is an adjustment period, getting used to the style of game. As you know, it's a lot more physical in pro than college, and you definitely got to mind your habits a lot more.
So you came here, you spent last season in Pensacola, then you played for two different teams before coming here. What was that like, being traded not just here but also once more before that this year, ending up in Peoria after playing in Birmingham, and then coming here? What was your first impressions of Macon after you got here for the first time?
Sure, yeah, I'll give you a little background. So I had my rights in Birmingham over the summer, and then after I got to camp, and first game of regular season didn't last long, kind of a surprise trade out to Peoria, and then was there for a little over 10 games, a month or two, and then again out there, they had some injuries come back, and there was a shortage of space in their lineup, and coach called me and said, "Hey, I think it'd be a great fit for you in Macon," and sure enough, Dave gave me a call not too long later and said he traded for me, and I was super excited for a fresh start.
And getting the opportunity, is your ice time about the same, more here? What's that kind of look like for you? Just the difference in opportunity.
Yeah, I got a lot more time here, which is nice. Up in Peoria, I was kind of probably like a 10, 12 minute a night guy. Not a lot of special teams, or maybe here and there special teams, but down here I get a lot of time, a lot of opportunity, special teams, so it's been great.
That's cool. So for people who, obviously you've been playing for a little over a month here at this point, but for people who might not have been paying super close attention, how would you describe your style of play? If you were to, in a nutshell, how is Michael Herrera as a hockey player?
Sure, yeah. I'm an offensive player. I like to think of myself as a scoring winger, volume shooter. I like to shoot the puck, play with some speed, some grit too. I'm not the biggest guy, but I play hard.
So you mentioned it's been a nice change of scenery for you since coming here to Macon. How would you, if you had to describe the way you've been playing since you got here, how do you feel about the way that your tenure here has gone so far?
Yeah, I mean, I've been, content with the way I've been playing. I'm always looking to get better, as I think everyone should. But, I think the teams, it's been kind of weird. We went on a big streak when I first got here, and then hit a little losing skid, and now just kind of capped off a big streak here the last week or so. So it's kind of been a little up and down, but, I've been content.
That's good. So what's been your favorite part about being here in Macon so far, in the group, the locker room, on the ice, whatever it may be?
Yeah, I think, honestly, I think we have a really good group. Like, that's not to say that the groups that I've had previously were bad groups by any means, which there were some really great guys, really some friends for life I've met in previous places. But I think this group especially is just very tight. And even just seeing the way the guys rallied around JT when he had his injury, that was something special. So
that was your first home game with the Mayhem, right?
That's right, against Huntsville.
Yeah.
So, that was really special. And, I just think the way they look out for one another, and I think living together, too, has something to do with that, right?
Yeah.
Like when you see guys living in the same complex and you see them all the time. You go home and they're there. It's almost like being in college again, right? And you got that close-knit family feel.
That's cool. So this past weekend, we'll talk about the games. 2 big wins, Thursday, Friday. What do you think the team is doing particularly well right now? You mentioned the heater that just got capped off. What would you say is the things that the team is succeeding on and executing well?
Yeah, honestly, I think it's when we stick to our game plan, right? Like we play. I think the problems we've run into are when we were on that kind of skid was we weren't playing a full 60 minutes, right? We'd have spurts where we'd play 10 minutes with a great game, or we'd play 5 minutes and get a goal when we really need to get a goal, but we'd wait until that time frame where it was like the last minute to really turn it on. Whereas when we're playing well, I think we play a full game.
Yeah, absolutely. And you could see that the wins on the first half of the streak were tight comeback wins against Fayetteville, and then the 2 most recent were full 60 minutes over Knoxville and Roanoke. As big as last weekend was, this weekend is even bigger, arguably, with 2 against Birmingham, having dropped 2 against Birmingham earlier in the season, and then 1 in Pensacola on Sunday. What does the team need to do better this time around against Birmingham in particular, and Pensacola too? You were around for one of those games.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to get those 2. Those are both teams I've played for previously, so let me know a little extra. But, yeah, I think, honestly, like I said, we lost on Saturday in Roanoke, but I think it's kind of we just need to understand that we've been playing good hockey and stick to kind of what we've been doing. Like just that full 60 minutes, playing fast, playing to our strengths, and not try to play outside ourselves, just play our game. And I think we'll come away with a couple W's this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think went wrong in those first couple of games at Birmingham?
I just think it was failure of all systems. Like everything was wrong. We weren't scoring. Our D zone kind of collapsed, especially the second game, kind of collapsed. I don't think we had a lot of movement through the neutral zone. Like I think if we were to look at like stats, we didn't have a lot off the rush. We didn't have a lot of sustained offense. Like there just wasn't a lot of effective play going on.
So easy things to fix this time around, you would think. So you mentioned it already. My last question before we get to the live questions and some that we had submitted by fans was, did these games against teams that you played for previously carry any weight, any more weight? I guess you'd already say yes.
Yeah, I love them.
You mentioned to me before the last game against Pensacola downstairs. You were like, "Oh yeah, I hope we get something."
Yeah.
Lo and behold, you scored in the first period, I think. No, it was late. It was late in that one. But yeah, so we had a couple write-in questions for you. The first one was, the numbers are kind of jumping off the charts in Macon compared to the time you spent in Peoria earlier this season. Is there anything you credit that change in production to?
I think confidence is a big thing, especially for players that would consider themselves like pointing players. So obviously when you get more touches, when you play more, your confidence skyrockets. So even though I'm playing more, yes, but proportionately I'm also pointing a lot more. That's a lot to do, I think, with confidence and believing in yourself and having a coach and a team that believes in you too.
Yeah, that can't be understated or overstated, I should say. Do the numbers matter to you, or is that not something you pay attention to too awfully much?
To be honest, as I've gotten older, I don't look at them as much, especially on a game-to-game basis. Like, you never really know exactly how many games played you have or exactly how many points you have, especially on a career timeline. But I think it's something like you have to assess. Like you're lying to yourself if you don't look at them and kind of assess. Like, okay, how have I been doing? Because they're not everything, but they do tell you a little bit of a story.
Of course.
Like, okay, how am I doing offensively? How am I doing defensively? Plus mine, and all that stuff too. I think you should look at.
Yeah, for sure. Anybody here in-house have anything for Mike before we take a quick break? No? All right. Well, everybody give a round of applause for Mr. Herrera. We'll take a quick break and have Justin Thompson up here. All right, everybody. We've got Justin Thompson in the house. Let's give a round of applause for Mr. Thompson. So, obviously, most people here will know your story, but there's also the part that most people probably do not know, which is how you got to Macon in the first place. So this offseason, before you made your pro debut, what was that process like as you were deciding to make the jump and then getting recruited by Coach?
Yeah. This summer I was training every day at a place by my house in Minnesota called APX, and I didn't have a lot of bites right away on me, but I believed I had the ability to play professional hockey and contribute to a team, and I signed with an agent, and then kind of worked out great with Macon, and I got an opportunity to come here and try to prove myself in camp and make the team, and then came in here trying to be me and not try to be anyone else. I feel like that was a big piece to what I wanted to bring into. In the past, I would say I would try to be someone I'm not, but I was just outgoing, smiley, and still put in the work every day. But it led me to Macon, and I didn't know much about Macon. My college coach actually played for the Macon Whoopee, which is pretty cool. And so after I signed, then he reached out and told me that he likes the town and what to expect. And I was very excited going.
That's pretty cool. So what kind of led you to Macon during that decision-making process? I know you said that was one bite that your agent told you about, but was there anything that you had heard of beforehand when it was factoring into your decision-making, just kind of what that process was like? We were considering options in Europe too, and but then for me too, I just thought this would be great for my development, be stateside and be familiar with American the culture
and everything, and I thought it'd be just good for the growth of my game and even just to see another part of the United States.
I was going to say, was it your first time living in the South when you moved here for the first time?
I played and lived in Corpus Christi, Texas. So, different
part of the South,
Yeah, different kinds of it. But this was my first time really being in Georgia, and I've flown through Atlanta before, but actually being in Georgia. So I'm still picking up on things though too, fried peanuts, I think it is, or is it Georgia thing, or
boiled peanuts?
Yeah. Sorry, but I still have to try them. I still haven't, but Georgia's cool, and I love the city of Macon. It's beautiful down there. Even during Christmas time, it was so cool. I got to walk around and everything. So
that's awesome. So you talked about leading into the camp experience where you were fighting for a roster spot. How would you kind of describe that experience for you? It had probably been a little bit since you were in a situation like that, right?
Yeah, because in college, a little different. They're kind of committing to you for the 4 years that you're there. And my college experience was weird too. But, I thought it was exciting. I mean, it's really challenging, and mentally you really have to stay in it and kind of just, even if you have a tough day or a tough rep, you kind of just have to move on to the next, and keep pushing forward. So that was exciting though for me, and I knew it's like, all right, if I don't show up and I'm not prepared and I'm not doing the right things, there's a chance that I'm not gonna make the team. And I love that competitiveness of it, and even going in there every day, it's a weird it's a weird experience because you're trying to make the team, but then you're also trying to make some buddies too, and have a good experience. So, we had a great group in camp, and we had a lot of rookies like myself, but even the vets were super nice, and we would hang out, go get lunch, and it made the experience way better. And then in practice, I was trying to show my skill set and stick to my strengths.
That's awesome. So what was the experience like for you when you found out that you made that final cut? Do you remember that feeling that day?
Yeah, I mean, I even up until my injury, I was like, oh, I got it. Every day I was
surreal.
I mean, I'm pumped. It's a cool experience, and just being able to play hockey for as long as I did, and like every day I really tried to cherish it, and yeah, it was awesome, and I just loved putting on the jersey, and like having the relationship with the fans, and playing home games, even road games were fun. So yeah, I loved it, and it was like an everyday thing for me. I tried to do. I tried to stay grateful throughout it all. So.
That's cool. So you talked about the road games too. Your first game was on the road. What do you remember from that very first game in Pensacola?
Yeah, I was pretty nervous, but I try to stay like really chill. Like before the game, I try not to get too amped up, because then I felt like I was drained when it came game time. So I was actually like, I would go and I would meditate or listen to music, or I'd read some stuff on my phone and stay pretty chill. And then I actually, right when I was like locking in, I had some buddies call me that were just like freaking out. Oh, it's your first game and everything. I'm like, guys, come on, like I got to dial it in. I have a game in an hour. But yeah, I felt like I was a little nervous, a little shaky in the first period of that game, and then I kind of settled in a little bit, got better, and I felt like that's kind of how my season was going too. I felt like I was getting better every game personally, and more comfortable, and yeah.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask you, the next game, also on the road, you scored the shootout winner in your second career game. So what do you remember from that moment? What was that like? And then after the game as well?
That was awesome. Like I that was a cool moment when I think back on my hockey career. Like that's one that, that was just awesome. I was hoping I was going to get called too, but it's funny because in practice, like the practice before the games over the weekend, we do a team shootout, and the person that doesn't score has to, like you guys, you get like donuts or juice or something, and that week I got last. So I was like, when we went to the shootout, I was like, no, I have more. I can do this. Like I really wanted the moment, and I wanted to be, clutch or whatever, but yeah, that was super cool. So
you mentioned you felt like you got better as time went on. What was it like for you with, do you have a favorite moment on the ice? You scored quite a bit while you were on the ice this season. So you mentioned obviously the shootout winner in Birmingham was a big one, but do you have a particular favorite?
Yeah, I actually, the game against Fayetteville, in Fayetteville, it was, we had two games that weekend. It was the Saturday game, and I had a big night that night, and the boys did too. My favorite personal play would be my pass to Steph, and he went in and shot it and then got his own rebound and scored. Like that, I felt like was one of my better plays. Yeah, and I just and I used to play defense as a kid, and I don't know, I felt like a defenseman.
That long stretch pass?
Yeah, so I was pretty hyped up about that, and I also, that same game is when I got the goal off the face-off, and I had the shootout one, but I was like, oh, I want a real in-game one, so that one felt good too, and yeah, and I just felt like I was getting better every game, and yeah, it was fun.
So I talked to Mike about your first game back at the Coliseum back in December against Huntsville. Obviously, everybody that was there will remember it. What do you remember the most about that day? Yeah,
I did not know that whole setup was really going to happen, but it was a very emotional day for me. Just to be back there and just to be there and get to see the boys in person, because it was a long time in the hospital and watching the games over the TV, or even when I couldn't even do that, I'd listen to them. But it was a very emotional day, and I felt like it was so cool because my two of my best buddies from home came down too, and it was just a special night, special moment, and that was a huge win for us too. And I feel like that game really showed kind of what our team can really be like when we're on it, And sometimes it's, I don't know. It's just it was a cool night, cool day. I think about that day a lot. That was one of my favorite hockey games I ever got to watch. I felt like we controlled the pace and everything. And even before the game, getting the pictures and getting to drop the puck and like watching the video on the big screen, that was really cool because I didn't know any of it was gonna be happening, and that was a pretty emotional day. I think about that day a lot. Even Huntsville, one of their players, Matty Allen, was my line mate in junior hockey, and we became really close, and we still stayed in touch and everything, and he got to be the Huntsville player in the picture, which was cool. So
that's pretty awesome. So after the injury, obviously it came with challenges. What were some of the things that were the most helpful for you as you've been on your recovery?
Definitely surrounding myself with people and like just being around people gives me life and energy, and especially when people are positive and they're smiling and joking as well. I'm a very upbeat person and try to have a good time. So, it helped out a lot just being around like the guys. Like were very helpful with that, and even when I was making jokes or laughing at dumb things, they'd be right there with me. So, and it just everyone's been super nice. So. That's helped me heal a lot. I would say, the hardest thing would be like not being able to really do things on my own that I like used to. But I'll get that back, as time goes. But I miss driving a lot. So driving, listening to music in the car. So. Yeah.
So you kind of led into my next question, which was you went home to Minnesota for the holidays. Now you're back here in Macon. What reasons did Macon give you to come back?
Mikey kind of talked about it. It's like our group is so close, and even before all this happened, we were just a very close team, and just the community's close too. I love Macon, and I love the Cherry Street here and just the food places downtown and just being in this community. So for me, it was like I don't know. It felt like even through this, like there's a purpose for me being here, and just to be close with everyone and everyone's been so great to me and my family and I just feel like we have a really good group, not only off the ice, but on the ice too. I feel like our team is a very resilient group because I know it's been tough for me and in my situation, but even for them, it's probably really tough too, seeing their teammate go down and deal with some of the things and have, when they were seeing me in the hospital and I'm having a lot of pain and stuff, that can't be easy, especially then going to the rink and expected to still play up to their abilities. Very close group. And leaving this year, no matter what, I'm going to have, my teammates are best friends for life, but everyone in the Macon organization and just the fans and everything. Everyone's been great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Final question before we open it up to anyone else. When you look back years down the road at your time here in Macon, what are your best memories going to be?
It was a dream come true to play professional hockey and get to do it in a cool spot. But I think about a lot of the off ice, just the road trips and the laughs through that, or even sometimes when you're when you fail and you think about like, oh, that was a tough game or a tough time, and the group battled back together, or we stayed close through it, or even the workouts and the grind and running stairs at the rink and that's the stuff I think about, and listening to music and with the guys in the locker room, and like it's, yeah. But then even I think about, when we go out to eat on Cherry Street or wherever in Macon, it's just like unbelievable memories. And I feel like that's really what makes an experience, is the people you surround yourself around and what you make the most of in a situation, being present in the moment, not trying to get too ahead of yourself or look back at maybe some things that you enjoyed in the past, but being in the moment. Yeah.
We got one question from online. Someone, I won't say who, someone said, JT, who's your favorite teammate? It is one of your teammates that asked the question.
Can I guess who asked me?
Yes.
Connor Witherspoon.
That is exactly who asked the question.
Classic. That guy wants it to be him. Let's see. Well, whoever. My roommates right now are Mess and Huff, and they've been driving me, eating with me. So I don't know. I feel like it's a day to day, but I love all the boys. So, yeah.
That's pretty great.
Yeah.
Does anybody here have anything for JT? Got one in the back.
Oh.
So, for the recording, he asked if you've been coaching the boys up from home.
Okay, yeah. I've watched every game. I text the guys separately, like kind of if I see something, or like try to be encouraging. And then if they want to talk deeper, then we do. But yeah, it's usually little things. I stay encouraging though to the group. Like we have, our own messaging and stuff, so I do that. But yeah, it's just try to help out any way I can. But yeah.
Anyone else? Got one more?
Oh.
He said if you're planning on coaching the Macon Mayhem.
Oh, I don't know about that stuff or anything yet. I have some appointments for this, and focus on that one day at a time, and then just try to be. I just want to be a good presence and not a distraction at all for anyone, and just have a smile at the rink every day. And I feel like even if I'm able to do that, and maybe if someone's having a tough day or they're kind of frustrated, if they can maybe see, oh, well, he's smiling and enjoying life, like even, through a tough time, then maybe it can encourage that through them. So, but yeah, we got a good group and big weekend this weekend. I'm fired up to see a game in person.
So you will be here this weekend. That was one of the questions we had online.
Oh, yes. I will be here this weekend. I'll be here for a good while, I think.
Good.
So.
Anybody else got anything for JT? No? All right, let's give a round of applause for Mr. Thompson. Take just a second, and then Coach Dave will be up here.
Thank you.
All right, everybody, time for the grand finale. We've got Coach Pszenyczny at the front. Let's give him a round of applause for Coach. A lot has gone down since the last time you were here. It's been about a month since the last Coach's Show. 2 separate 4-game winning streaks since the last Coach's Show. How do you feel about the way the team's playing right now? Obviously, there's a large sample size, and that month, a lot of good, some bad. What's your overall thoughts with the kind of a State of the Union address?
I really feel that this team's come a long way in the last, 3 streaks, right? With the one losing streak in the middle there. But, sometimes you got to learn to lose and learn to win. And, we're not too far off from, being where we want to be. lots of games coming down the stretch here, so we're really dialed in at the moment. The players were pretty upset over the loss the other night, which, I think if you would have said at the beginning of the season, that might not be the case. So, we got a lot of young faces in there, which, at the end of the day, it's learning to be a pro, and they're learning. So we got to teach them how to do that. And it's not just going to happen overnight. So right now we're still full confident. I thought our 4 games before the loss on Saturday were pretty terrific.
Yeah, hard to argue that. Start with last weekend in particular, though, the 3-game set, kick it off with 2 wins, and as Mike said, 2 complete games, which is something that the team hasn't had a lot of, but they've been able to get wins regardless. Do you have a set number of points when you're going into a weekend that you're looking to get? Does that change from week to week? Obviously, you want to win every game, but that's not always super realistic.
Yeah, I think to be, humble and honest about situations like that, you're looking to get 2 out of 3, especially on the road against 2 different opponents, 2 different states, 2 different cities. Not an easy travel by any means. But, going into a place like Knoxville where maybe people aren't familiar with it being such a small, condensed zone, they have the advantage because they're the ones that play there, practice there, and I thought we had a terrific game from, not just 5-on-5, but our special teams was pretty good. And then, we kind of carried that momentum into Roanoke there. And, and then obviously, even going into Saturday's game, or the result, I should say, after, it was kind of like we were right there, had our opportunities, breakaways, and it's just like, when will we get the bounces, right? Mm-hmm. I feel like we're still snake bitten, like their first goal off our goalie's pad, off our skating in. Kind of like what was happening about 2 weeks ago on the penalty kill. Like just everything was hitting off us and going in, and it's just like I've never seen one go off our face, off another person skating in. Yep. So here we are. But that aside, I thought we still have an opportunity every night to win. We're competitive and we're finding ways. And, I was kind of just jogging my mind earlier with Taylor today and just like, have we ever had, a 3-goal lead and let the team come back? And, that hasn't been the case this year as compared to last year. So, it's nice to always have the lead, but, right now we're just building.
Yeah, absolutely. The biggest parts of those 2 wins, opposing team gets 0 points out of it. A lot of overtime and shootout wins so far this season. How do you get more regulation wins under your belt as the season goes along?
Yeah, well, the stat today, Taylor and I were laughing about it. I think there's been, across the league, at least 34 games that have gone in overtime or a shootout. So there's always that loser point going one way, and I think that's why you see such a condensed from 10 to 5 right now, mm-hmm. and then obviously the games in hand play. But, at the end of the day, it's just about winning and obviously winning in regulation. So it was really nice to not give out a loser's point in those previous ones. So once again, like another building for us, because what was it, the week before, we're scrambling to force overtime, right? And, we came up on the good end on both of those.
Mm-hmm. So one thing that was great this weekend, again, was goaltending. It hasn't been the Achilles heel of this team in a long time since you've been here. That hasn't changed even with Bailey Birkin on injured reserve for the last 2 weeks. What can you say about the way that everybody's playing right now in the goaltending position? What have you seen from Sebastian Reesar? I feel like Boyko's probably playing his best hockey right now. How do you feel about that unit moving forward once you get Burks back into the mix as well?
Yeah, I mean, we had Sebastian in training camp, and, we know what he was capable of, but unfortunately in our league, you only carry 2. So, that's going to be a situation that, when it comes to, we're going to have to figure it out. I still think we're a bit a ways from having to make that decision, and sometimes the decisions get made for you. There's a lot of call-ups right now, a lot of injuries in the NHL, a lot of guys going up. So, we're going to probably feel that here pretty soon. But, at the end of the day, we just got to worry about, Friday night going in against Birmingham, and it doesn't matter if guys get called up before then. It's, whoever we have, it's next man up. And I like our group as far as our depth scoring. We're getting, some scoring out of some big players. We got some other guys that are contributing on the penalty kill that, we weren't getting. Then we'd have to go to the well so often, and you kind of leave yourself exhausted in the third period trying to either keep the lead or push for a goal. So, it's by design for sure. But also too, like, we gotta make sure that we're, still doing what we're doing on the special teams. So to kind of break down, because I'm a nerd when it comes to stats, before Saturday's game, we were 27% on the power play and 93% on the penalty kill. So when you add that into the mix, that's probably the reason why we're having success. And those are things that we've been harping on and focusing on for quite a bit, with all the practice time we get. So, kudos to the guys for stepping up, because it's not every day you get guys coming into the office asking for, more time on the penalty kill. I think that's a selfless thing. I think you always hear you want to be on the power play, but everybody's already gotten a shot on the power play. So
that leads in pretty well to my next question, which is about the power play. It's been pretty good as of late. Had 2 big goals in that Friday win over Roanoke early. One of the interesting things about the power play lately is that a lot of the defensemen have seen ice time on the power play. Why is that working for you guys in a landscape of hockey where a lot of teams at higher levels are moving away from defensemen on the power play entirely?
Especially at our level and even at the next level, a lot of penalty kills allow a shot, because they're confident that they can either get a block in the second layer or that the goalie's going to be able to, see it. So we try to take full advantage of that, and, our defensemen probably have like the better one-timers. So we're going to utilize them until we see that we need to make a change. But, that's kind of been, the bread and butter of that, with the 2 goals in Roanoke there. Cashing in on a 5-on-3. I'm a firm believer if you have a 5-on-3 for longer than a minute and you don't score, you deserve to lose the game, right? So, it was good that we got that, and then to get the second one with the time remaining, and both coming from defensemen.
Yep.
So, good things happen when you shoot the pill. Just a lot of times that we're struggling is finding that net front presence to take away the goalie's eyes and be a multiply factor. So. Once we get that consistent, I think you're going to see our power play bump up a little bit more.
Talked to Mike about this earlier. 2 opponents coming up this weekend where it didn't go your way the last time around. What do you need to do differently this weekend against Birmingham and Pensacola?
I think with Birmingham, we just got to stop hitting posts. That Friday night game, I remember kind of chuckling to myself looking at the scoreboard. We're going in overtime and it's 0-0, and I'm pretty sure we had an onslaught of shots, and just the numerous posts that we hit, and you sit there and you're like, well, if it was just a half inch over, is it a different outcome? Left a lot of pucks in the paint right on the goal line, but it is what it is. And then to kind of see the wheels fall off there, in the second night, thought we played strong, but once again, going back to Mike, like, it wasn't a 60-minute performance. So we're starting to understand that, though. We did it in Knoxville, right? We did it in Roanoke. I would like to say out of the 6 periods, we probably played a good, 5 and a bit. So we just got to keep building and understand that sometimes things aren't going to go our ways. There's a lot of calls that don't go our ways, and, you just got to play the cards that you're dealt.
So Pensacola specifically, played them 4 times already this season, 4 1-goal losses. What about that team is so tough to crack? Because that's not just a Macon thing. They have won so many 1-goal games this season. What do you do to change that?
I don't think anything changes structurally or tactically on our end. It's, at the end of the day, they got a good group of forwards that hit their shots. And that's tough to not just defend, but they seem to be timely goals where they're hemmed in their D zone and they end up getting an odd man rush out of it, and it's in the back of the net, right? So that's not my style of play, but it seems to be working for them. And I know they're kind of struggling right now with goaltending, but we're mainly focused on Friday night just because the game's in hand and, how much separation we can give ourselves here in the next 8 games if we do well.
So you talked about the games in hand. A bigger picture, we're early enough in the season, we're about at the midway point. It's not far enough along where you need to worry about getting help from other teams. Is it difficult to tune that noise out sometimes, though?
I think it's an easy thing to look at and still think that you have time. And these are things that Taylor and I had been stressing probably the first month in when we were losing those games, but still getting a point that every point matters. But once again, we go back to the loser point, right? So now you're giving up a point if you are winning those in overtime. So now that's the standings. But, Birmingham plays tomorrow night in Evansville, and should they lose, they're still at where they're at in the standings. If they win, they're above us with a point. But now we also have 4 games in hand on them. So we can't change what happened when we went down there. We just got to focus on them this weekend.
So the injury bug has gotten pretty bad as of late. Does that change your approach from game to game, from week to week?
We had the injury bug, we had the sickness on Saturday morning to the point where we were trying to figure out with the lineup, would it be better to load up one line that was all sick or disperse and break up other lines? So, you try to kind of overthink it at times, but, sometimes for players it's best that they do play sick. I think it's like a mental thing for them, and it gives them a little bit more of a oomph in their game. So, all in all, it's you're going to go through those during the season, and, to kind of go back. In my time in Quad City, we're in playoffs, and game 2, so we won game 1, game 2, we're in Peoria, and I'm not playing 4 of my best guys because they're back at the hotel, puking. And I would rather have that now than later on, right? So, but once again, things that you can't control, at the end of the day, and, you just got to figure it out and hope that the guys that are playing are going to be able to overcome that.
Last question before we get into a couple write-ins we had and then some that we've got live here in-house and on Facebook. This team so far has allowed the second fewest goals in the league, but has also scored the second fewest goals in the league. Is that the style of game that you're comfortable with this team playing, where it's going to be low scoring every night? Or is that something that you want to improve upon going forward, whether it be in either direction?
Well, I think a recipe for success to win a championship is not whoever scores the last goal wins, right? The run and gun style is it's not great by any means. You're rolling the dice, and when you leave it up to chance, anything can happen. Ice conditions, bounce puck here and there. So, we try to play as structurally as possible, and that does play into the defense, into the goaltending, the structure of the team from building out from them. But I will say, where we probably were at the beginning of the season, maybe we generated maybe a handful of scoring opportunities. Now that's doubled, almost sometimes tripled, but we're still getting the same result, right? So it's all right, we'd be more worried if we weren't getting those opportunities. Saturday night, 2 breakaways. One breakaway ties the game, the next breakaway puts us up. We didn't hit either of those. So it's at what point do you just keep sticking to the system? There's nothing that we can change on a breakaway, right? Mm-hmm. So, and we earned that opportunity. So, there's different things that go into how other teams play and how we'll rotate in the offensive zone. But, at the end of the day, it's split-second decisions that guys have to make.
Absolutely. We've got a couple write-in questions. Have there been any surprises to you this season about which players are producing for this team so far?
No, not necessarily. I think, and I hit on it the last show with, Justin Kelly. It's probably got to be hard on him with the chances he's getting, but, to not get rewarded for what he's doing for his other 2 line mates. And that's not to take away from those 2. They do well for themselves. But, Justin Kelly's a heart and soul type of guy that, if you were to look at the stats, you're kind of like, well, why do you talk so highly of him? Well, I'll come show you some video footage that's broken down that he plays the right way. And, hockey's a funny thing where sometimes you just got to be in the right place, right time, and it goes off your bum and it goes in the net, and you kind of get off the schneid. So, there's really nobody that's truly, surprising. guys are Michael comes in and, starts performing the way he's doing, and, it's good, at the end of the day, I think, but there's really no surprises on our end.
The last one before we get into live questions, how do you feel about where the lines are at right now with getting productions from all parts of the lineup over the last few games?
Once again, that's another thing that's, we look at other teams and how they're top six heavy and then their third line just kind of kills some time. And I'm not a big believer in, just telling the line to go out there and kill some time. I think that you want to be a threat all the way around, because when you get into line matches and you're on the road, well, who do you line match against, right? And yeah, we're getting pretty consistent production from one line right now, but if you match up your defensive line against them, well, what are you coming back with when you got two other lines that can also put the puck in the net? So that's how we're going to roll. Everybody's getting opportunities, and it's nice that everybody's chipping in. And Welshie having a big goal the other night. Steph's chipping in, but Steph does a lot of the good stuff on the PK for us. So you need everybody to have different roles at the end of the day.
Absolutely. We've got one online, and then we'll open it up here. Someone asking if there's any update on Caleb Huffman. He obviously took that rough shot on Friday and then on Thursday, and then did not play Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, no. Huff's going to skate tomorrow, and we'll see where we're at there. There's doctor's orders at a certain point, and we're just going to see how that goes. Sometimes when you're on the road, you see a doctor and they diagnose the player as a Joe Schmo. They don't diagnose him as an athlete, right? So athletes tend to recover a little bit quicker than normal people, just because of the fact that we're constantly in shape and producing. But at the end of the day, that's going to be a game time decision, and there's certain things that we can say, okay, you're cleared to play. Yeah, we want him in the lineup, or hey, we can't. And that's kind of why we haven't done any IR yet, just because we're kind of waiting for the time frame to kind of play out.
Got it. Anybody here have anything for Dave?
So with the lineup recently, Drew Welsh has kind of been like the odd man out, but in the last recent games, he's been producing. How much of that is you seeing something and rotating him into the line, being like, oh, this line is gas, because he has the freshest legs on the ice? How much of that is him just producing on his own?
Asked specifically about Drew Welsh over the last couple of games, slotting in a little bit more than usual.
Yeah, no, I think when you call a player up from the Federal League, they have a little bit more time and space to make plays, and I'm a big believer that how you get the puck, you have to improve the quality of it, and sometimes it might be off your skate. You got to make a better play, right? Whether it's either along the boards and not make a whole play and turn it over. You don't ever degrade the puck, whether you're defenseman forward. So there are certain things that sometimes I'm like, well, he's still not there yet. And then you get some flashes at times with players. And, for him and his success, it's confidence, right? So you get put in a situation where you're given an opportunity and you're overthinking it and you're just trying to make the easy play when a better play is there to be made. So it kind of clicked for him in that game. So, you're not always going to have your best game. You're not going to have your A+ game. So what's your best B+ game? What's your, are you blocking shots? Are you being physical? Are you causing turnovers? Those things. Those guys are going to get more opportunity at the end of the day.
Anybody else got anything for Coach? One more.
All right, so the next couple of weeks is like 3 games in terms of conditioning and recovery. Does anything change? Are you throwing every guy in a cold tub? People like let's recover, or is it just steady, easy?
Asked about if the game plan changes when you've got consecutive 3-and-3s like the team does over the next couple of weeks.
No, good question. Big believer that, rest is a weapon at times. What we do is so unorthodox, skating, strides, that your body naturally needs rest. And as much as you want to keep up on the conditioning, sometimes it's a light jog and mobility stretch. Sometimes it is cold tub, depending on how many minutes you play. But they're professional athletes. They need to know or they should know by now what they need to do to be ready to, on game day. With a full week of practice, after a 3-3, you're definitely not having ice, the day after the 3-3. But no, good question. Great question.
Anybody else got anything? Got one in the front? I didn't hear the question.
I could tell you it's not the first two. Can you repeat it?
Yeah, what's contributed to the success they've had here lately? Is it more ice time, chemistry between the players, or what?
He's asking what exactly has contributed to the wins lately.
I probably sound like a broken record, but at the end of the day, it's it's a building, it's a process, right? And as much as we want the instant gratification of overnight success, it's truthfully not how teams win. But I think that the belief in the room, you feel it more now. A lot of times in past, like let's say last season for comparison, it's like us coaching staff needed to, be the cheerleader, so to speak. And we know before we're walking in that room right now, just by looking at guys' body language, like, no, they're dialed, they're ready. So now you know exactly what they need to hear, right? And that's a special feeling at the end of the day. There's not a game for a while now that I'm like, oh man, like we might really lose here. Like we have full confidence every time we come in, and Tucker and I talk about it, Keith and Taylor, we're like, how are we feeling tonight, boys? And they're like, man, like I think we're gonna really, impress or get the 2 points. So, and when you have that collectively, it's a hard thing to stop. So, as much as I'd say we'd love to win all the rest of the games, truth of the matter is it's not going to happen. But trajectory of how we've been playing, I think this is going to be an interesting lead up after winning 4, losing 5. Still getting a few points in that 5, but then hit another 4 streak, lose 1. Well, now what's the next story? I think we're past and understand what happened the 5-game stretch where we didn't have success as much to move forward.
Anybody else got anything for Coach? No? All right, everybody, a round of applause for Coach Pszenyczny. We'll be back here on Wednesday the 28th for our next Coaches Show. Thank you to Fatties for having us. We'll see you this weekend for the games.